John Madden, I'm sulking. I'm sulking by how terrible the visuals are here. I don't have a green screen behind me. This is not the sound studio. The sound is actually pretty good because the shower room of Salvation Army shelter at the corner of Haywood and Montford in Asheville, North Carolina. So these are the showers. Then you hit the stalls, and there's urinals down that way, and then there's lockers, and then there's the dorm where about 30 guys sleep. So I look like hell. I haven't slept well here for a month. In a dorm with 30 guys, no, you're not going to sleep well. And I need a haircut, and I need a beard trim, and, so there. And this mold on the ceiling is terrible. It's terrible. But it's the only place that at 3 o'clock in the morning I can talk and not wake other people up or irritate other people. So with that introduction, I'm going to talk about will or determination or making things happen and how that's played out in my life and how it might be relevant for your life. It was stimulated by, I've been here for about a month, and early in the month, I was digging around under my bed, I'm in a lower bunk, and found these slippers there. And they were just what I needed. I had a couple of great pairs of sneakers that I inherited actually from a security guard here. But these soft slippers are helpful. And what I discovered this morning was that my big toe on the right side was really irritated from both pairs of sneakers. Neither of them gave it any relief. So I wanted to find the missing slipper because they had gotten separated somehow. And it took a lot. I spent the last half hour finding it and then fishing it out from under my locker, finding the right tool to get it out. And along the way, I started to think about my relationship with making things happen. I was born to a father who was a good man but lost in alcohol, just deeply withdrawn and depressed, and did not engage with his kids. The only one occasion he had been gone for a month to Illinois State Hospital in Kankakee to dry out, and came back and attempted to be a dad with us. I remember him playing catch with us out in the front yard for, half hour, an hour. And by the next day, he was back in the sauce, and we lost him again. So I had and he was handy. He was handy. His only job ever, his whole life, was an installer for the phone company. So he wasn't a handyman like my friend John Langdon, who can fix anything. But within the limits of what he did, installing phone systems, he was good. He just, they never would let him go, and even if he didn't always show up for work. And there was a strong union back then. But he didn't share any of that with us. And so I knew my father knew how to do things, and I knew that he never taught me any of it. And I think on some level I got resigned and said, okay, I'm just not going to do things. I'll think, because I'm smart, and I'll think. And I'll write poetry. I was writing poetry and really interesting essays by 3rd grade. I became a thinker. And I was pretty much, in many ways, until I woke up and went to the woods, went to the North Country and got a camper van where suddenly I had to do everything, keep that damn camper van running. And not having tools, how to fix things and make things happen, and put on my MacGyver hat and, okay, what's something that would be almost like a wrench, or, So in the last 5 years, I've become enormously resourceful. And it has something to do with obeying the voice of spirit as I hear it in my head. And if the voice for spirit says, take that hill, I'm going to take that hill, come hell or high water, even if it's dangerous, even if I say along the way, God, am I going to get killed from this? And God has, on one occasion, said, you might, but you might not. Go for it. Come on, do it. It's like that. And on another occasion, here in Appalachia, I was my first year on the road. I was hanging out in Burnsville and Spruce Pine a lot. And in Burnsville, the abandoned post office, I wanted to turn it into a dance club because they had a brew pub up there then, but no dance club. And I really worked hard. I really found the owner of this abandoned building. Oh, I did. I went through a lot to make that happen, and finally it didn't happen. I just couldn't. Well, what actually happened was I got allergic to the woods and had to leave and just abandoned the project. But my experience was that what God said to me was, great effort. You poured heart and soul into this. You learned a lot. You stretched yourself. You never were going to get it. It never was my plan for you to get it, but it was a training exercise, and it was great. You were, on that level, you were successful. So now just pivot and say, what next? And I learned to do that. I want to tell 3 stories. One from my life. I got one from my life. I think I'm just going to tell, one from my life and 2 from what's happened around me over the years about will and stretching yourself. The one from my life was in Tampico, Mexico, big city, and my car was broken down at a Petco. There was a mall that had a Petco, and whatever, there's a big Texas food chain. They have stores in a lot of places in Mexico. And my van was broken down there, and the dog that I had temporarily, Bear, was injured and sleeping in the bushes by where the van was. And Magic, my very agile dog, came with me to go get gas. I had to go buy a gas can and get gas. Well, we walked a half a mile to the local gas station, and it was way down a hill. The station was way down a hill, and the pumps were way up by the road. And the gas can was not a 5-gallon can. It was bigger. It was liters, and it was bigger than that. And it was so damn heavy when I filled it that I had to have the kid from the store carry it up to the sidewalk for me. And then I thought, oh, get a taxi back to, get a taxi with a huge gas can and a big dog at rush hour? No, they were filling the taxis. They were, if they had 5 people in a taxi, they could add 1 more in that big city, but not me, no. So what was I going to do? Well, I had to walk. Well, I can't even lift this fucker. So you have no choice, you have to walk. So I made it a game and started singing and saying, look, this is fun, I'm having a blast. Conning myself into it. And let's see if we can carry it to 20 feet instead of 10 feet before I have to put it down. And I did it. And when I got back to the car, I was so elated. And that night, I just was over the moon happy because I had done something I didn't think I could do. And suddenly the whole world was my oyster, like, wow, anything's possible. And it's one of the things I say to people a lot. Do something physically that you thought you couldn't do, and it'll help you spiritually. It'll change your relationship with yourself. So two stories from where I've experienced other people that way. I like to say that record drivers are the new cowboys. They are amazing. They just won't quit. And my iconic memory of a record driver goes back 40. I was married 40 years. The Tantramar Marshes of New Brunswick. We were up living in Nova Scotia, and we were exploring the Tantramar Marshes, which were gorgeous. And it was an early spring day, and the ground was soft. And we had a 4-wheel drive International Scout, but it got mired in the mud, and we couldn't get it out. So a record driver came out, and he spent 3 hours in the waning light of this beautiful, beautiful day, putting a plank here, doing this, doing that. And when he finally got it out, I said, at least 3 times I was sure you were done. You were going to give up and say, no, we just can't do it, we'll come out tomorrow. Or wait till something, I don't know. And he said, oh man, no, that was never an option. Can't quit. You never quit. You can't quit. If you quit, you ain't got nothing. I remember that line. If you quit, you ain't got nothing. That memory has haunted me ever since, partly because the afternoon was so perfect, and he just didn't quit. The other was when I was doing management consulting at AT&T. I had a group of, I think, 10, probably 10 high managers, not mid-managers, upper managers. And they were old. And we were taking them through an obstacle course, one of these ropes courses to build teams. And it was maybe a 10-foot wall, and they had to get every member over that wall. All of them had to get over that wall somehow. And these guys weren't physical guys, you know. They spent probably 2 hours, and finally they did it. And I was talking to one of them afterwards, and I said, I knew you guys weren't going to do this. You know, I was waiting for you to quit. And he says, and this was the management philosophy of AT&T back then in the 80s. He says, quit wasn't an option. No, every one of us knew that we. It was so, I know it's goofy in a way, but it was so beautiful, so beautiful. Every one of us knew that we would not quit. We wouldn't quit on each other, and we wouldn't quit on the test. We would do it. So, you know, as a kid, my mantra was, okay, I can't do, so I'll think. Now, these days, when I tease myself and play the Merlin, the sorcerer in the movies to Luke Skywalker, and I'll say, "Don't think, do." Don't think, do. And I do that with myself. So that's true. I've gotten that way, and I encourage people to be that way. And then, you know, when God says, "Okay, let it go," that's not gonna work. Then you know how you can do it. But not until God says. Otherwise, you make this fucker happen. And I pity the fool who gets in my way. Honestly. Don't be that fool. Okay, bye.